Good morning, good morning, good morning. How the heck are you? Welcome to Men Up with Mike, episode 144. 144, can you believe that? All right, let's make sure we are up and running on Facebook. It looks like we are. I might have beat Facebook to the punch, so I might have been doing my intro ahead of the game on Facebook. Good morning, Anne, over on the website. If you guys want to interact with me on the website, it is mikecameron.ca/live. And yeah, if you're on Facebook, if you're on LinkedIn, if you're on YouTube, I am streaming all of the places. All right. So once again, welcome to Men Up with Mike, Friday edition, episode 144. Can you believe that? Episode 144. I find that a little bit hard to believe. We've been in this pandemic for that long. It was when I was not able to travel anymore that I decided that, you know what, I need to do something to keep me fresh, to keep me practiced, to keep me chatting, to keep me live and going. So again, I'm going to just try and make sure that I am paying attention here on Facebook. So drop me a note if you're watching on Facebook. And I see you are on the website, and I appreciate that. LinkedIn, if you are there, I cannot see your comments live, but I will come back and comment and reply to any comments there. So I would love to hear your questions. Men Up with Mike is the show where we talk everything top performer, extraordinary performer, how to achieve, how to become, maybe more importantly than achieving and having. It's all about the being. And we do that through the lens of what it means to be a dude. and we talk about some of those specific societal pressures that get put upon us as men. And today, I thought we would talk a little bit about, sorry, bear with me. We would talk a little bit about self-sabotage and where we might run into that, because I think self-sabotage is a problem for a lot of us, for an awful lot of us. Whoops, what happened? I lost my feed here. So sorry, bear with me. There I am. There I am. Oh, it's gonna be one of those days. It's Friday. It's Friday. Getting ready for the weekend. What are you guys doing for the weekend? Are you going to excel? Are you going to soar? Are you going to relax? Hey, good morning, Brenda on the website. Thank you so much for popping over there. I appreciate you guys in a big, big way. I assume that's Michelle. Good morning, baby. How the heck are you? Yes, Anne, I really enjoy the numbering of the episodes as well, because it's kind of fun to see how far we've come. Given that, I started this on a bit of a whim, and this really just started as something to do every morning to keep me motivated, to keep me moving. So today I thought I would talk a little bit about self-sabotage and how to deal with it, how to stop self-sabotage. Where do we run into that? It's a conversation, a topic that I think probably most of us, oh, I'm going to sneeze. Hang on. Excuse me. Excuse me. I thought self-sabotage would be a good conversation. Brenda is celebrating your birthday. Nice. Happy birthday, Brenda. It is good to have you with us today. Is today the actual birthday, or is it this weekend? I feel like, what was it? The Friendly Giant who used to, happy birthday to Timmy, who's 4 today. All right, quick side story. When I turned, I think it was 38, they threw a surprise party for me at Chuck E. Cheese's. And if you guys don't know what Chuck E. Cheese's is, it is a kind of amusement room for kids. So when you have a birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese, Chucky is a little mouse. He comes out and he says, "Hey, happy birthday to Timmy, who's turning 8 today." So they went through all the birthdays that particular day, and then they got to me, and you could hear the announcer, the DJ guy, kind of stumble and fumble. And happy birthday to Mike, who's 38 today and having his birthday at Chuck E. Cheese. Anyways, it was entertaining, it was amusing, and it was a lot of fun. And of course, the kids had a really good time. All right. Focus, Mike. There's a little bit of self-sabotage for me. That distraction, that misdirection, that procrastination piece. So, self-sabotage, again, I think this is a really important conversation, because while intellectually, I think most of us are aware that at some point in our life, we self-sabotage. So what is self-sabotage? Self-sabotage is those subconscious beliefs that counteract those conscious thoughts and beliefs, those desires to achieve, those wants, those needs, those milestones that you put on your path that you want to accomplish, and those subconscious thoughts that conflict with you actually achieving those, that get in your way, create behaviors that will prevent you from achieving the things that you want to achieve. So I think this is a really important conversation, because as always, it's about taking the time to just slow down a little bit. Take that pause. Practice that pause, take that breath, and really reflect on, does this show up for me? Hey, good morning, Jorgen. How are you, my friend? It is good to have you over on the website. So taking that moment to just pause and reflect on this self-sabotage piece, And if you're not getting where you want to go, if you're not able to accomplish the things you want to accomplish, having a look at why is that? Am I getting in my own way? Am I the roadblock? Am I the bottleneck in this process? And I know for me, absolutely, I find more often than not, more times than not, I am in fact the bottleneck. I can be my own worst enemy. So again, it's about that SOAR framework. Slow down. Open up to that possibility. Am I the one getting in my way right now? What am I putting in front of me? What roadblocks am I putting in front of me that don't need to be there? And then that A piece, accept. Accept that it's there. Accept that you're doing this. Don't beat yourself up for it. Find some self-compassion in order to move through it. So it's about slowing down, opening up to what's there, accepting it, and then reconnecting with that mission, that vision, that milestone, that thing you want to accomplish. Good morning, Ali. How are you, my friend? Reconnecting with that purpose and identifying that, yeah, you know what? Maybe in fact, I am getting in my own way. Maybe I am my own worst enemy in this particular case. Finding that self-compassion to accept that and say, yeah, that's okay. That's okay. It's not really acceptable. It's not what I want, but it's what's happening right now. And as I've always talked about, with awareness comes choice. Now you get to choose. Again, the problem, and this is so much easier said than done. You know, that acceptance piece is hard because we want to beat the shit out of ourselves for standing in our own way. And that just becomes counterproductive. We get into this, what Brene Brown calls the shame spiral. We feel bad for feeling bad. And it further gets in our way. It further serves as a roadblock. So why do we do that? Why do we self-sabotage? Why do we get in our own way? Well, there's a number of reasons. Maybe it's self-worth. Maybe we don't believe that we are worthy of the thing subconsciously. Again, we run into these things all the time where outwardly I can put on that mask of confidence. I can say, I got this, I'm worthy, I deserve this, I've worked hard for this, I fucking need this, I am owed this, I deserve this. But there can always be that underlying piece of, yeah, but maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not. So that self-worth piece or lack of self-worth can be a huge roadblock. And again, as I've talked about before, really I'm a big fan of getting to that root cause and understanding that. So when we start to understand why we self-sabotage, rather than just trying to brute force change the behavior, the self-sabotaging behaviors, we need to understand the underlying reasons, the emotions, the feelings that cause us to create those behaviors. So is it a lack of self-worth? Maybe it's a control thing. For many of us, it's a control thing. Even if it's subconscious. I would rather be in control of my failure than be an out-of-control success. Think about that for a minute. That one's interesting. And obviously it's subconscious because I don't think anybody consciously would say, yeah, I would rather be a controlled failure than an uncontrolled success. Yet, subconsciously, if that control piece is important to you, is critical to you, then maybe we do. We sabotage because we would rather be a controlled failure than an uncontrolled success. The next why is maybe that's it. It's that imposter syndrome, that feeling of fraud. Again, whether we want to acknowledge that consciously or not, that comes up a lot. Sometimes it's just comfort. I'm comfortable with the status quo. If I actually succeed, then that means I'm going to continue to have to level up. I'm going to continue to have to up my game. And the higher I climb that ladder, the stronger that imposter syndrome feels, the more self-worth I have to have. And if that's a problem, then again, those patterns kick in, the self-sabotaging patterns, those behaviors. So going back to the identification piece, so what are some of the behaviors that we often run into, some of the frequent behaviors that we often run into that are self-sabotaging? Procrastination, for me, that's the biggest one, without question. We run into we run into procrastination as a self-sabotage behavior. Substance abuse, self-medication. I mean, we see this all the time. Addictions. Interpersonal conflict. Again, that self-sabotage. Maybe we rile somebody up or we create that conflict because we're afraid of what a solid relationship might look like. We've never had that before. We don't know what that might feel like. That might be uncomfortable. Stress eating, that's another one. We eat to avoid stress. Stacy, good morning. Stacy on Facebook, how are you? We're having a party over on the website, mikecameron.ca/live. I notice everybody's over here today. I love it. I love it. All right. So we've talked about what self-sabotage is. We've talked a little bit about how to identify it. We've talked a little bit about why it happens. So what do we do when that comes up? So part of it is, good morning, Stacy. Part of it is understanding your patterns of thinking, recognizing those default patterns of thought. And I've talked about this a lot. This is the whole premise of my workshop. Oh, time to plug the workshop. Lifestyle by Design. We have these patterns of thought that come by default. When we start to recognize these patterns of thought, now we've got that choice to actually create patterns of thought by design. So what are some of those self-sabotaging patterns of thought? Understand your ways of thinking. Another thing that we can do to keep us moving forward, to remove that self-sabotage, is find ways to make decisions quickly and efficiently. Because oftentimes we use indecision as a very big self-sabotage behavior. So how do we remove roadblocks from decision making? So one of the ways that actually it's interesting, so the reason I'm wearing this t-shirt was exactly one of those roadblocks. Decision making takes an immense amount of emotional and cognitive energy. So the more things we can do to streamline our decision making processes, the better we're going to be. The reason I wear this t-shirt, or the blue t-shirt, I've got 2 different t-shirts, I've got 5 shirts of each color, and every morning when I get up, that's what I put on. I don't have to give it a whole lot of thought. There's no decision about what jacket, what shirt, what tie am I wearing. I just hop up, grab my t-shirt, pop it on, and away we go. I've removed the barrier for that decision. So one of the other ways we can streamline our decision-making process is to use rules of thumb, heuristics, find patterns that we can use to make those decisions more efficiently, more quickly. Things like if it's spending under $20, I just do it. I don't think about it. Or $10 or, whatever your threshold is. But come up with some different heuristics, some different rules of thumb for helping you make those decisions very quickly. Anne says that she's found over the years many people don't feel worthy of being successful. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Whether we want to acknowledge that or not, it's so true. So find some rules of thumb that you can implement in your life that will help you make decisions quicker, faster, more efficiently, and remove some of that cognitive and emotional load and not get in your way, that indecision. Yeah, it was one of the guys in our Lifestyle by Design coaching program the other day shared a meme of Gary Vaynerchuk, and it was how to make difficult decisions, and he crossed out difficult and how to make decisions, and the answer was choose. And it was about making that choice. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, adjust. That's it. But choose, choose, choose. Jordan says, how often do I do laundry? I do laundry once a week-ish. But yeah, I could probably get away with doing laundry a lot less because I think I have probably 5 of each t-shirt. So I could go 10 days without changing. And I've got lots of underwear and socks and all those kinds of things. So know your thinking patterns, use heuristics, rules of thumb for making decisions. The next one is a big one because a lot of times it's that negative self-talk that really gets in our way that causes these behaviors to, Jorgen, that's all right. I know you, man. I know you. This is why we do live, because it's more fun, it's interactive, and we get to goof around a little bit. So again, it's those limiting thoughts, those limiting beliefs, that negative self-talk that often gets in our way, that we convince ourselves, we talk ourselves out of success so often. So one of the ways to counteract that is to find ways to celebrate the small wins, celebrate the victories, and do that repeatedly, do that consistently. So find ways to celebrate the little wins. I got up this morning, I put a t-shirt on. Hooray! I got up this morning, I hopped on a Facebook Live, I hopped on a live stream, I hopped on a community live. Yay, that is a win for sure. So maybe even if it's bad for you, like if those negative self-talk, if that is a real problem for you, if you recognize that that's a real problem for you, maybe every day, grab a sheet of paper, grab a notebook, and when you have those little wins, jot them down. Jot them down, and you'll start to identify that, you know what? In fact, these happen more often than you probably think. Your subconscious likely sees self-sabotage as self-preservation. It's about safety. It's about comfort. And your subconscious is battling with your conscious mind. No, 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 we can't do this because it might hurt. We might fail. And your conscious mind says, fuck this, I'm going anyways. So understanding that a lot of times these self-sabotaging behaviors are coming from a place of what you believe internally is self-preservation. And understanding that at one point in your life, maybe you needed those for self-preservation, but chances are you don't anymore. So are you hanging on to patterns of thought and belief that once worked well for you, out of self-preservation, out of safety, out of necessity, that today you just don't need anymore? And really being able to examine and explore and get curious around those. Finding what those self-destructive habits are, identifying them, and finding ways to replace those habits. You know, I can't remember the fellow's name, The Power of Habit, he talks about the best way to break bad habits is to replace them with new habits. So if you can identify those self-destructive habits that you have, replace them with new habits, new beliefs. Practice that positive self-talk. Avoid that instant gratification, not that self, the instant gratification. Avoid the procrastination. Prioritize what needs to be done. Anyways, my friend, that is some food for thought on self-sabotage. It's worth having that time, taking that pause, taking this moment, and just reflecting. Where in your life are you maybe getting in your own way? Even if you're successful, are there still roadblocks you're throwing up? My guess is there probably are. Anne says, yes, you could, Jorgen, but we, the public, are glad you don't hold back the comments. Yes. Anne says, the first win is the hardest one, but once it happens, it becomes easier every time. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Sometimes it's hard to identify those little wins if we've been mired in this pattern of pointing out the losses or the failures. We really have to jump in and be very intentional about identifying those little wins. Anyways, my friends, one more thought for you, one more question for you. I'm thinking of a virtual community get-together. What would you think if I hosted a virtual community gathering? I feel like we should do that. There's enough of you that show up regularly that it would be really fun to get everybody together on a Zoom call and just have a cup of coffee together, shoot the shit, have some conversation. Anyways, guys, I will leave you with that one. Let me know if that would be of interest to you, and we'll make it happen. All right, my friends, as always, continue to make beautiful shit happen. And have yourself a fantastic day. And let's see if we can do this outro again. Oh, I feel like the music is there.